Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. It's Sunday morning, the 25th of March, and although I just recently got called into work, so I'm going to be here for about an hour doing a little bit of piddling around, and then it's when I get back, 5 o'clock, I'll come down and do some more work. But anyway, I originally had today and tomorrow off, but now I've just got tomorrow off, so I'm going to try to see how well I can crank 2 days worth of work into one day. I mean, it's not gonna be what I wanted, but you know, it's what I got to work with. All right, so anyway, here's what I did yesterday. It's actually not yesterday morning, 2 nights ago. I made one of these. I made another template just because I want to see how that paint is going to stick on PETG plastic. I've never used PETG plastic. I did a little bit of read up from people that have used it before, and they said that the paint sticks well to it. Now what I did on this one, although you can't really see it, on this up here, the piece on the top, I used some, it's made by a company called Norton, and I think it's a 3/0 steel wool. So it's got good little adhesion to it, or adhesiveness to it. It scratches. So I did that on the top one up here, and on the bottom one I just left it bare. I mean, I didn't scratch it up. I just want to see how it sticks to it. Now I have a piece of this at work. I'm going to cut off another piece again because I'm just cutting off little sections of it, and because it wasn't fully dry, you can still kind of scrape it off with your finger. So I don't know how this product is going to work. I mean, on the part here on the bottom, I'll scratch a little piece. The part here down on the bottom, you can see that you can, there we go, you can scrape it off with your finger. And that's what I'm going to be fighting, because I know that you can, if you put it on glass, you can usually scrape paint off with your fingernail or just with a razor knife. But this, I'm trying to find out a good way to get it done, because once I spray this on, I don't want this stuff flaking off. So and as you can see, even where I scuffed it, it just comes off. So what I'll do, and I might just end up doing it this morning on the opposite side of this. I'm going to scuff it up even more. I may come in with some 400 grit sandpaper just to give it a little more tooth, because I don't think I've got any. I don't think I've got any 600 grit. But I'll make another one real quick on this just so it dries, just so I can test it tomorrow. My plans for tomorrow, because if I can find them, I do believe in the well, they're around here somewhere. I cut out the windows, the little side windows, and I've got the initial part. Oh, right in front of me. So I've already got the windows cut out, and these are just going to sit in place right here. I may downsize them a little bit. They may end up, because I think I could bring them in maybe another, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch. So I'm probably going to trace around it and then cut it down, just because they don't need to be this big, and that might get me around the little issue I'm having here, because this window, when it was put in, the guy didn't do, on both sides, he did it, the other side he did a better job than this side. So I may come in just to try to thin everything down so it's going to sit nicer. So I'm gonna have to think about this one, but I think I'm gonna cut them down because they don't need to be this big. And these are the rear sections back for the inspection areas. Whoa, starting to drop down on the top, and then knock something over or break something. There you go. Right, you can't see it, but anyway, for those of you who see in the video, it's got an open hole down underneath the horizontal stabilizer. So I will be cutting these out, and this might be a tonight job. So I'll get these prepped up. I'll get these finally prepped so I can attach those tomorrow, and then I'm going to do the tail wires. Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. It's Monday, the 26th of March, and I've been busy like a bee. Alright, what I'm doing right now, that you can't see because it's off camera, I got done making the little panels for the back. And what I did was, it took a lot of time to get them perfected because my template was close. I wanted to make sure that all the holes were going to go through good solid wood, not through something that wasn't there. I didn't want to go in any balsa. So what I did was, these ended up getting reshaped. I ended up taking a little bit of the nose off of this side, probably almost a 1/4 inch because I didn't need it. Shaved this down by about an 1/8 inch. The hole ended up having to be enlarged, and I was able to shave this bevel down. And I still got a little bit of cleanup, but these are ready to put on. And what I did, I wanted to drill them both the same, so left and right, it doesn't really matter. I mean, once it gets painted, it's only going to be painted on the outside. But that way, I'm drilling one the way I'm going to do it on the plane, and I'll show you. Just because it's going to be a real pain in the butt to do it anyway. I'm going to come in, and I've got it set up so that when these things slide in, and I'll probably go to the bottom one down here first, if I can get the wires out of the way. I need to just put one screw in first. Once I get the screw in, it's going to hold everything in place, just pivot back and forth. Then I can come in and then get another one. So that's why I decided to drill the holes first, because I'm one guy doing a 2-person job right now, and there's no way that there's be enough room for 2 people to work down here. I'm trying not to use tape on the paint, and everybody that's been watching the videos understands why I don't like putting any kind of masking tape on top of that paint. Because I don't want to have to fix it. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get these taken care of. I've got the side windows not installed yet, but they're all cut to size. I'm going to do the same thing on that I'm doing on these. So all the screws will all be in the same locations. So I'll get that done. I've already got the hardware. I located the hardware and have that prepped for the flying wires on the tail. So what it's going to be, it's a stainless steel cable going into some little sleeves, 440 sleeves, so they're going to get screwed into some clevises. Alright, I didn't forget about anyone at all. This took almost an hour, about a half hour per side. That just fell off. Alright, I'll bring it right back. Let me fix it. Alright, I pick up the mess I just made. And everything's working fine. Alright, so they are both installed. It took me a little bit longer than I thought. It was about an hour to get everything aligned slowly, drill the holes. Even with my little Dremel tool with the extension on it, because that's what I needed to get to the tight spots. It was a real pain in the butt. So anyway, I've got everything pretty much set up now. I mean, it's in real life, she had inspection covers on her plane. So I figured, you know what, I'll just go ahead and put them on mine. On the real planes, it's not see-through, but on hers they were see-through. Because of competition, you want to make sure that everything's attached. So that's where I figured I'm just going to go ahead and leave it open on the bottom too. So just in case I see anything wrong on the inside of this for my own pre-inspection, if I covered this up and there was an issue, I was going to have to cut the covering off anyway. So that's why I figured, you know what, you'll just make a big inspection cover. So if I needed to remove anything, like say, and I don't want to say something happened with one of the elevators, because what I can come in, I can cut it across here. I mean, this was my plan. That's why I did it originally the way that they had it set up. I can come across here and cut this off. So say I broke one side, cut it off, unhook it, slide it out the other side. So once it's out the other side, then if I wanted to reassemble it, I can make a new attachment point in the middle so that I can slide in. So at that point, yes, I would be making 2 new elevators for the back, but they would slide in and attach. And they would be made out of a carbon fiber leading edge. Yes, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the right way. So that is now done with the exception of painting it. Now I'm just going to get these things taken care of, so this will hopefully, you know, another half hour a piece, an hour total time with me drilling the holes and attaching them. If I can get that done, then I'm going to come to work on these. So anyway, here's what I've done so far with the testing for the paint. Because you know how I like testing things now, because I don't trust paint. Alright, this was painted a couple days ago. And unfortunately what you're seeing is it's another, I'm testing on the opposite side now too. Alright, this one, these were scraped the same day and you were able to scrape the paint off. The top one had no, I didn't sand it all. There was no abrasive on there, so there was nothing for it to bite into. The bottom there was, so you can see it. I mean, it's pretty close to being even. I mean, it's scraped up, it popped off pretty good. So what I did on this other side here, I used some 400. I haven't tested it yet, and the reason why you can see where it's got primer and not, because it's one half's got primer, the other half doesn't. So just for me to test with the 320 grit. Now what I did, because I noticed that with this primer underneath it, it's darker than the paint on the side of the plane. Is somebody really gonna possibly notice that there's a slight difference in the color of the paint? I couldn't tell you. You know, even it's what you're doing is you're looking at something that's sitting on a different type of subsurface. So you can see it's a little bit darker. I'm hoping you can see it's just a little bit darker. Where on this side, without the primer, it's closer to that color. So, but it almost seems a little bit brighter. So what I'm doing on this other test piece is I'm going with the same primer that I used for the cowling because it's a lighter color. It's not as dark. I mean, if you put the two of them right now side by side, you can see the difference. So I'm hoping that this should do a better job coming close to that color. And it's kind of hard to see because my little temporary light's dying. It's hard to see, but I think that's, I mean, there's a better view. It looks, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but to me it looks like it should work out better than the darker. So I'm most likely, almost definitely going to use this. Okay, in the world of me not hitting the button when I should have hit the button. I just got everything drilled out without video in it, because I said I was going to do that. So I'm just going to have to get all this stuff. That's myself, my little camera, the video. I got all kinds of lights set up on this. So I'll bring it back on the other side just for this, because this is already done. All right, now we're back on the other side. What I'm going to do, I've got about a 1/16 of an inch gap on the other side, so I'm matching it on this side. And it's just going to be a matter of getting everything about where I want it and putting a little piece of tape up on the top. We're pretty close. Pretty close. I think right about there we're looking pretty good. So let me kind of figure out. It's going to be a little bit tighter fit on this side. I'll bring you right back as soon as I got it taped up and start drilling holes. Alright, now I've got this side all set up so everyone can watch it, with the hopes that that little red light stays on because I hit the button. Alright, I've got the piece all ready. Hang on, you're gonna move. Sorry about that. Hope nobody got sick and threw up. Alright, I've got everything set up the way I wanted to, because both of these sides are slightly different. I had a couple weird little spots on the other side. I've got one weird little spot here, but it's good enough. I'm still going to have full surround of wood around the plywood, around where the drill goes, where the bit goes through. So everything else is pretty good. I'll put one corner, I'll put one up here, one down here, then I'll take the tape off. or at least start going around the outside, getting all the holes drilled. Then I'll take it off, clean it, and then I'll throw it back on. So let the music begin. All right, I'm back. Unfortunately, let me unzoom you here. Whoa, okay. Let's get some light from that one. The battery packs that I've got for my, I can't even see the name of it, for my LED, one of my LED lights. It's made out of they're made out of the highest grade Chinesium, guaranteed to last until they die. This one, it charged up all the way and it ran for about 10 minutes. So it's garbage. So what else is new? Alright, so this is put in. It's all ready to go. As you can see from there, I mean, you see this is all going to get painted. The paint line is going to come down to about here. So I'm going to bring it in so it's going to follow all the way around. So you're not going to see what's on the inside here. If you can kind of see possibly through the other side, you can see the screws sticking out of the back side of that on the other one. You know, I could go in there with some black paint if I want to. I just haven't decided yet if I want to. But anyway, oh, this one goes out to Gino at Taylorcraft Aviation. Gino, this is all I've got left of those little screws, 4 of them. I certainly didn't want to have to make another trip all the way up to Wisconsin. So anyway, I got too many lights going on behind me and not enough in front of me. Let's go out and you can see how I have things set up. So when I'm trying to do a decent video of lights, got the light here. That was a light over there with the camera. Me stuck down there in the middle. All right, we're back on the side with lights. Too many lights. Alright, here's what I'm going to do because I could not find my little board that I was looking for. I'm going to show you guys how to make a little teeny thing just out of a scrap piece of 2x4. And all I'm going to do is it's just so you've got a bevel to come down to put the piece of brass in, to strike it once and have it bend at that spot. Now brass, because it's one of those types of materials that is work hardened. Let me get your, there, so I'm back in the middle of the picture. Because brass is a metal that's work hardened, if you move it, every time you move it, it hardens. That's why if you take a piece of brass, kind of like copper, and if you can, even steel does the same thing. If you bend it back and forth enough times, it's going to snap. It gets brittle because it work hardens. So that's what we're working with brass. You can flex it back. So when I make the bend in it, if it's too much, you can go ahead and move it back. It's just how many times you want to do it. But because you're only moving a little bit in or out, you're really not affecting, you can't see any cracks starting to form with the brass. So anyway, let's see if I can get you zoomed in a little bit. Alright, this one here is my little 1/2 inch. And what I'm going to do with this one, boy, she needs a good sharpening. What I'm going to do with this one, I'm just going to put it down just to measure the width. Because I've got a wider, I think it's a 3/4 inch. Yeah, 3/4 inch to do the other end of it. But I'm going to strike it down. And the audio might be back again. I know audio systems don't like these sharp noises. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and then take my 1/2 inch and just start to chisel down on it. So it's just going to come in at an angle. Again, I don't know how well you're going to see this. I'll try to hold it so the light hits it right. But anyway, it's recessed. It's not recessed a lot. It's going to have to be recessed more than that. This is just kind of showing you how I begin with this. So as normally as I progress along and I know it needs to be deeper, which I already know it needs to be deeper just because the angles these are going to be cutting at, I can go ahead and dig it a little bit deeper. That's why I strike this down first in the middle so I give it a point to break and it doesn't want to continue to rip out. Alright, so there we go. It doesn't have to be pretty, it's just got to work. Alright, here's our little pieces. We've got 6 of them. And they should measure out to about 295. It's just kind of, I was shooting for 300, but I'm not going to sit there and fudge with it. So, and they all measure out to the same, 295. So, I'm just going to go ahead and I'll sand these down a little bit, and then I'll get you guys moved over to there. Alright. I've got everything set up in here. I've done my first little couple test pieces just to verify everything. This piece, because it is that 295, I set this up, I set my digital calipers up for 147.5, came in and struck a line from either side, so I got center on that, and then I came across with the same distance and struck it across here, so I got a cross. And then I came in from there. I like to call them doinkers. It's a little spring-loaded punch. Came in there, set it, came down, got everything dialed in, so it's going, as you can see, it's going right in the middle of that. So the way this is going to work is that I'm going to get this side done, and then I'm going to bring it back in the other way. And instead of the number 35 drill bit, which is what you need for the clevis, I'm going with a number, with a number 51, which you need for the clevis. I'm going with a number 35, which is what you use to drill out the hole for a 440 screw. So let's get this finished up and spin them around and start doing the other side. All right, so there we go. It's in the middle on one side and a bigger hole in the middle on the other side. So this is good. I just need to come in with a drill bit. I've got a big one. I think it's sharp. Yeah, it feels pretty sharp. And then I'll just come in and I'll just deburr it. That worked pretty good. All right, what I did, I know where I marked the line. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the line, but I marked the line right here across it, and that's where it needs to be. So I set it up across the little spot where I made a little dig out of it, and I get it lined up between these two lines right here. And once everything is lined up by my end points, I'll take a flat blade screwdriver, put it down on that point, and give it a tap. And that's all that I did. And now that's what it looks like. So let's head on out here and see how close it's going to be and for what point it will work. So many different ways to do it. Okay, what I did is I just grabbed one of my little pieces that hasn't been bent, slide it down to the end of the wire because I never got done cleaning up this piece. This was something I stripped off the plane before I put the better stuff on. So now I can take that, slide this through the hole because that's where the upper part's going to go. And then I could just bring this down to this point. And it's kind of hard for you to see, but it's pretty darn close. It just needs a little bit more of a tap to it. So I'll tap it just a little bit more because I didn't sink it down to the bottom. So I'll get a little more bend to it, and then I'll just try to match the next one for the other side up to this angle. Bring you back up a little higher. Okay, I got those pieces put in. I got for the elevator. Okay, you can see that part. Alright, what I had to do is I had to bend these at a little bit sharper angle. So I just went in with the chisel, chiseled a little bit deeper. The bottom ones I did have to, I don't know if you can see me. Yeah. On the bottom ones I had to put them on the tabletop and just push them down, just smush them, because they were a little bit too steep. And like I said, you can make slight adjustments with these, but if you're gonna keep making major ones to it, they're gonna break. But we're all good. So let's see how close I'm gonna be on this, and I'm really hoping it's gonna be close. And I can tell you right now it's not. I'm at about a 45-degree angle. We're going to have to go steeper than that. So I'm going to go back inside and I'm going to dig that out a little bit deeper. Hit it again and I'll bring it right back. Okay. I'm sorry about the lack of light, but yeah, we're probably pretty close to a 60-degree angle on that. Let's see how she fits. It's looking pretty darn good. Now is going to be the fun part, because what I'm going to end up doing from this point, I want to put these on the little brackets. With hopefully everything being in some kind of agreement. Because then once these get in, then I'm making a measurement. And I'm going to have these things so they're pulled out. They're pulled out a little bit, so I've got room for adjustment to keep it tight. See, now from here, if I was going to put rod in, if I was going to put a steel rod in, I would just go ahead, let's see if I can move you over this way a little bit. I would just go ahead, that'll work better. I would just measure out here to here and just solder that rod in there, but I'm going to use the cable. So it's going to be the same thing as getting the measurement, cutting the cable length, and then I'm going to solder the cable inside there. So the only difference is that it's cable. You have less of it setting up resonant frequencies with the cable because it's twisted. It will still vibrate. It just doesn't have. I'm just trying to describe this the right way. When you have one with metal wires setting up back here and it sets up a resonance, the plane just starts screaming at you. The amount of noise that it broadcasts through the whole fuselage. So that's why I normally go with wire in the back, because you can still get a vibration and you can hardly hear it. So that's always been my thing. I just like the wires better. Alright, let me just give you a real quick little heads up how I'm soldering these together. I'd show you the soldering process. It's relatively quick and easy. I don't have the stand in here, so I'm just going to hold this in my hand and hopefully it won't bobble out too much. Alright, this one is already done. I've got one of them put on there and we're going to go put this one on, but I just want to show you how I go about doing it. Alright, with this, what I'm pretty much doing is this is just going down inside the vise and I'm just snugging it up. So as soon as that's snug, that's all I've got to do just to hold it in place. Then I'm coming over, getting another piece of the wire, because this is already cut to length. So it's luckily the top one and the bottom one ended up being the same exact length to cut, so that's the way it's supposed to be. Alright, so this is just it's a flux. It's a metal flux, so what it's doing is it's actually it's biting into the metal. So it's an acid that comes in. Then you're going to come in and you're going to heat this up, and while I'm heating it up, it's melting, so boom, so all the flux is down inside there. Then I'm just coming in with some solder. Normally I try to use silver solder. I'm not. I'm just using just a good grade rosin core. Never had it fail yet. And I hate saying yet because that just means that eventually it will, but then eventually every plane will crash. So that's how I'm putting these together. We soldered up, and then I'm going to bring them in. So let's go back inside. Here's the first one that's hooked up. So it looks good, nice and straight. I'm still debating on painting. I may, because this is just the way that I live my menial little life, I may paint these orange down here, and I may paint these black up here, and I think that's just all going to be black. I have to decide. I haven't quite decided yet. Whether they get painted now or they get painted later, it really doesn't matter because it's not going to affect the way the plane flies. Alright, so then what I'm doing here is I'm just coming in and just screwing it in. I know approximately how much I had when I got it all set up. I had about that much hanging out. And it's looking about right on the other side. So then, because I can't screw this one in because I already screwed it out, I'm going to take this one off and just go ahead and start screwing it in to where about I think it needs to be, and then we'll see. It might be good. It feels good, but there's nothing on the bottom yet, and because there is nothing on the bottom yet, I need to look and see how the elevator is set up, whether it is straight across now or if it's angled up or down. It may be up a little bit. But that's the whole deal. That's what you do with this. This is designed to not only keep it strong, but you're actually making sure that it is straight across, and you use that by tensioning and loosening these. Alright, I'm going to call this a successful day. Everything that I had planned out, that yesterday when I planned out what I wanted to get done today, I actually got it done today. It's been a long day, but regardless, that's done. Now it's going to be waiting for the my little test pieces to sorry about that. Waiting for my test pieces to dry all the way so I can see how well the paint sticks to the plastic before I take all the plastic off, because all that plastic, I gotta get a screw count I think it's going to be somewhere to the 150, 160, something like that. And through the magic of editing, it's got 183 screws. 183 screws. I think the first time I went up and saw Gino up at Taylorcraft Aviation, I think I got somewhere around 70. And then when I went up to go see him last week, I grabbed a bunch more. And the fact that there's 4 left, at least I don't have to go take that trip up north again. So, yeah, so anyway, so here's the way everything's looking. It's all hooked together the way flying wires do. So now what this does is this strengthens up the whole tail of the airplane. It kind of makes it one. It may be too tight. I'll take some measurements though. I want to make sure that this is level. So I may be able to sight down it. If not, I'll just go stand up front and just kind of eyeball it with the hopes of the best. Because to indicate off anything, I'm sure that even sitting on the wheels up front, it's not perfectly level. So I've really got no good way of measuring this to a surface. So I'll just probably stand up front and eyeball it and see what happens. But, so anyway, that's done. Those are done. Those are done on both sides. So now it's just a matter of waiting for the paint and take these off. I'm just going to take them all off. I really didn't want to take them off, but I think the best thing for me to do is to undo all 183 screws. Get it all painted. So I'll tape these things pretty much with them on here, then I'll take them off. The top, I don't have a choice. I'm going to have to, the top and the doors, I got to take the doors off first, but this part here and back there, I may take them off. I may tape them before I take them off. I haven't decided. I may do a partial tape on it just so I know where the lines need to be. Where this one, it's going to be interesting how I want to do this, because I don't know how I want to do this corner yet. Because if I come up here and then swing this around, I can swing this around and then blend it, keep it on this line right here, and then run it down. So I may just do that, just come in. So I'm going to have to, I would have to tape this, at least put some tape on it first before I take it off. So I've got some reference marks on how I want to do that. So that might be the wiser thing. So anyway, alright, let me come on in here, clean this up. I got to get all this stuff off, and then I'll get the plane back up here and call it a good day. So, yeah, give me a thumbs up. Let any friends that are crazy enough to want to do something like this, let them know about the channel. So that's about it. I will see you guys next time I'm in the shop, which is going to be next Monday. I've got another 6-day work week, so I will see you down in the shop for a full day of work next Monday.